Hello, and this is me again, and I thank God for being able to be here again to talk to you about things and just to share generally. I want to talk about the few things I've learned, the few points I've taken or learned when it comes to personal finances. Now, a lot of people, and that's the people I'm talking to right now. We're talking to ourselves where once you earn, like what you're earning is not enough to, handle everything that you need money for, So a lot of times you have to like look at it and say, okay, food, clothing, shelter. So if you're somebody who is not so particular about clothing per se, like once you have clothes to wear, you have clothes to wear. It doesn't bother you whether you've had the clothes for all your life. There are some clothes I use, like this one I'm wearing right now. Of course, then I'm wearing it at home. I'm not wearing it out. And the reason I'm not wearing it out anymore is because it has ripped somewhere. So, and even though I'm a fashion designer, I can mend it nicely, decoratively at that. But if it rips, there is a kind of way a cloth rips that you know that this cloth is old. So, and if you're somebody who takes public transport, obviously, you take public transport, there are chances that if your clothes are not strong enough, it's going to catch on some pointy thing and then it tears. So like what I'm wearing right now, it's practically almost almost 20 years old. Okay, give or take 17 years old. And I've had clothes like that I got from my mom. My mom wore them during her teen years, early 20s, and I thought they were amazing. It's just so nice and fantastic how, the fashion of those days, way in the, 40, 50, 60 years ago, could actually, fly right now, because one, if you're one for unique fashion, you're not one who follows trends in quotes, you don't have a problem. Do you understand? I kind of feel for those who cannot put on clothes that are not trending. So if clothes that aren't trending is your thing, then you don't have problem with clothes. You understand? Is you're one of those reusable people. You find something else you can do to upgrade and update and strengthen the clothes that you like. You know. Um, so if you're like that, that's cool. So that leaves housing. Now, if you're privileged enough, and here is one thing I think I spoke about this in either this YouTube channel or the other one. If you're somebody who has the privilege of staying in a house where you don't pay rent, maybe the all you pay for is fixing the house, which maybe something goes off somewhere, you need a plumber, you need a carpenter, maintenance of the house, paying electricity bills and stuff like that. That is all repair, maintenance. That's all you do. It's not paying rent. Then that relieves you of another financial burden. So I did a video once on, if you have the opportunity to live, if you can still live with your parents, then do. A lot of young people, I think the people in the millennial are now beginning to not be so cool about, uh, you know, I want to be on my own. I want to be independent. Well, it costs money to be independent because the real reason why you're independent, you don't get to do it because you're too busy trying to survive. So if you want to be independent because you want to pursue a career, you want to start a business, you want to be an artist, you want to, I don't, whatever your dreams are, you want to further your education, you want to do something that is different from maybe what your parents approve of, that is legal, okay? It's legal and it's not a sin, okay? And you now think being on your own is going to solve that. It might. Some people have been able to practically pull themselves up by their bootstrap, but it's not that easy because everything you earn, you have to eat, you have to pay rent. And what is left may not be enough to handle the financial part of fulfilling your dreams. Like I'm here right now, there are so many things that are pending, and I've been depending heavily on prayers because what can I do? I have to eat, right? I have to contribute, even though I'm living with I'm still living with my parents. Yeah, and frankly speaking, I'm not, it's not that it's easy, there are always those clashes that, may not be such a big deal for you when you were a child, but when you're older, sometimes it kind of feels demoralizing, it feels humiliating sometimes. But I think if you can handle that, there isn't much of anything you can handle. So you can just see it as your training, so to speak, and you're not being paid for it. Or rather, you're not paying for it, right? It's not a training you pay for. You can still get the same. The funny thing is that you can still get the same training in self-control, being polite, even though you're about to scream. Do you understand? Being able to let go of some things, like not argue over everything, though this what the other person, your parent, has said is wrong, what they did is wrong. Sometimes you learn to choose your battles, right? And these are life skills that you probably will pay a lot of money to learn at a seminar or a mentorship session or something like that. And you get to learn that for free. But I guess there are two ways to learn. One, you have to experience it, and secondly, you have to be taught it, like you have to pay for it. So one is experience, one is being taught. So when you remove clothing and shelter from finances, and what you have left is food, it gives you the flexibility to save. Now, saving, they talk about savings a lot, and savings is not really talked about much right now. The talk in town right now is investment. And I think it's because people have realized that the value of savings is at the value that you put, that the money was when you saved it. So if the value of that money has dropped, if the value of that money has dropped, but and you now need, maybe you saved like three three maybe you saved like three of any currency you're at. You saved three, right? You saved that maybe last year, or I mean, the value of money these days could doesn't even take that much that doesn't take many years as such to either rise or drop. So you saved three, maybe last month or a few months back, and then you now need two for an emergency, something that needs to be done and done now urgently. You now need a two. But it so happens that the value of that money of three that you saved has dropped to like maybe 1.5. So, despite the fact that you have a three and you need a two, but because the value of the three you have has dropped, the money is no longer enough. I hope you got that weird math I just tried to do. Sorry. I hope you just got that weird math I tried to do. So people are now realizing that Savings is very risky when it comes to how effective and efficient it is to use it for emergencies. So, but you should still save, because when it comes to investment, it's not about putting in every little thing you have. Investment, it's not like putting aside every little thing you have. Investment, however, is you having a lump sum of money, putting it into something and getting returns on it, either on a daily basis. There are some investments you get on daily basis, you get returns weekly, you get returns monthly, you know. So, I mean, it's just about you keeping your eyes peeled and being intuitive and learning how to know the difference between a legit investment deal and something that could flop at any time, right? So, of course, the ones that can flop at any time, their returns are usually more. Maybe like you put 100%, you put in three, you get three back, kind of thing, in a short period of time. Those ones, their risks are high. You could lose everything. But the ones that would give you, like, say 50%, 40%, 30%, 25% per month, or every 3 months or something like that, those ones are a little bit more stable. As I have learned so far, please do your findings. That's what I'm saying. So savings is good so that you can use it, you can invest it. So the goal of savings right now, if you don't take anything from all the things I've said, the goal of savings right now is for investment, not for handling, emergencies. So it's the returns of that investment that you can now use to handle a lot of things. So it's like having a passive income, like really, really, really passive income on one side. So you could invest in different areas if you have saved enough. And here is the thing, you have to take your savings seriously. I understand that a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but try. And if it's getting really hard, you might want to, I mean, there are a lot of people on I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't see how you can get through this without prayer, because only God knows who has genuine, who would not take your money for something that looks legit and then everything flops and you lose. So only God knows that, because there you might actually meet someone who would present you more something that looks similar to a scam, in quotes, but it's not a scam. Sometimes I don't even know how people define scam these days. I think it's something, if it's not attached directly, if it's not a bank offering it, usually it is called a scam by people. But then again, when it comes to investments, there are certain risks involved. It means you have to trust somebody else. You understand? It means you have to trust somebody else's word. But at the same time, it also means that you have to do the work. Find out, how do get yourself educated on how to detect a scam investment, in quote. Get yourself educated on that, so that when you see a deal that you like, that you think is okay, what you would do is you do your research, you do your findings, you do your research, you do your findings. And once you do your research and you do your findings, then you're able to, make an informed decision. So you don't just take a person's word for it. You also have to do your research, right? So I think the first thing when it comes to investment is that learn how to scout for good investment opportunities. Learn how to scout for good investment opportunities. So don't just take somebody's word for it. So you either do the work through prayer or you do the work through research, or you can do both. There's nothing wrong with that. I personally, I use prayer, because prayer does a lot of things. It sharpens your perception, it sharpens your intuition, it sharpens your discernment. So you are, sometimes you can just see a person with all the credentials and not be able to trust the person. And then you will see somebody doesn't have much following, doesn't have much credentials, like, but you just find that this person, I can trust this person. Every time you think about not taking that person's word for it, you feel like you're losing something, you know. And there are people who have all the papers, well known, popular, this, that, that, but you're like, no, 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 no. You just don't trust them. That is the power of prayer. Prayer sharpens your intellect. Now, when you don't feel like following somebody else's word for it, it might not be because they're bad. It might be that you will be the one who would lose. Other people who work with them or who take their advice may do well, but when you get there, it might just not pan out right. So you want to advise prayers, really. There is nothing one can do outside God. You understand? It leads you through the right path. It just, it might not look, all the experience in the world, the logic in the world might make it look like it's not the right path, but by the time you start treading it, you just feel that peace from within, that you know what, I'm doing the right thing. It doesn't look like it. I don't have proof that I'm doing the right thing, but I feel it in my spirit that, yeah, this is what I ought to do. So, what I'm going to tell you in all of this is this: save. Try very hard to save, right? All the talk about living below your means, fantastic. Do that. You know, if you have to live with your parents, please, for goodness sake, is it your pride that is more important or your dreams? Sometimes you have to, in fact, you have to sacrifice your pride to fulfill your dreams. Unless you're a multi, trillionaire or something like that. That is where you can say, I'm moving out, I want to stay on my own and so. But if you have projects in your head that are still living in your head, and you are just tired of having them living in your head, you're so ready for them to materialize, you have to sacrifice your pride sometimes. And who needs pride? Pride, they say, goes before a fall. You have to sacrifice your pride, you have to sacrifice your ego. What is more important, your dream or your ego? So unless your parents are physically harming you, then I don't see why you shouldn't stay there. Just try and understand them better. It will help you when you start your business and you begin to work with other people. You meet people who kind of remind you of your parents. Now, if you don't know how to comfortably deal with your parents without blowing your top every time, you're going to find it very hard to relate with people. So when you stay with your parents who have sharp, whose words are very, very sharp every time, it's like sometimes they always start a fight just for the sake of it. You have a tough skin. Your emotions are more stabilized because you're working on making sure that you don't internalize all the things they say to you. So when you now start your own business, you're able to withstand a lot of things. You're able to withstand opposition. In fact, you actually find it funny. And they now begin to fear you, like, what kind of person is this that does not react to anything you say to him or her? They got training from home in more ways than one. Oh, so you're going to be, if you're going to have friends who are going to be on your case because look, if you have friends that are truly friends, it wouldn't matter where you're living, whether you're living with your parents or whether you're in a rented apartment or, I paid for it. Really? Is that how you get your friends, based on the fact that you guys paid for your house? Or do you make friends based on similar interests, similar ideals, similar character, similar personalities, right? Where you truly care for one another. So when the basis of your friendship is on love, affection, fondness, you want this person to succeed, understanding, you just like this person. It wouldn't matter whether they're still living with their parents. But if someone is going to drop you like hot potato because you still live with your parents, then good. It's better they go now so that when you rise, you would not rise with baggage. You will not rise with enemies that were pretending as friends. Because enemies, people that don't really like you like that, they can't stand it when your lifestyle is anti successful. How will I put it now? It doesn't look like how a successful young person should look like. So if they don't want to be seen with you and you insist that, look, how I look is not really that important right now. I look decent and that's all there is to it. I am more concerned about my dreams. If they drop you because of that, fine, let them go. Eventually you make great friends. Maybe usually from people that help you to rise, people that admire where you are at and what you have been able to do, and people that just assist you just for it. Those are the people you make friends that give you ideas on how to execute your own ideas and stuff like that. So save to invest, because you're going to need a lump sum to invest a lot of times. But start somewhere legit, where your instinct leads you. Pray about it, do your investigations, find out for scammers, alert or whatever, and then, you know, go in with faith, but be cautious. Step cautiously, because you worked really hard for that money, and losing it just like that is not a good idea. So step with caution and always be on the lookout for any on how will I put it now? Any risk that is not profitable. Okay? So I'll put a pin on it right now and I'll talk to you later. Take care of yourselves and read the Bible, pray every day, and consider, if you have not given your life to Christ, think about it as you read the Bible. Shalom.